Hello, good day again, and welcome back to our session. This is the third and final part of our session for today. We will have actually it's not a 10 minute, no. So this is just the 10 for the instructions, but for the process itself, it will take us around 1 hour, maybe 45 minutes to 1 hour. So we'll have a live Monte Carlo demo in Excel. The purpose of this demonstration of how to use Monte Carlo is to generate values of losses, and it's used to demonstrate how uncertainty in EF and RO affects your annualized loss expectancy. Okay, so I provide you an Excel template. Okay, we're going to discuss the asset value, the exposure factor, the arrow range, okay. And then we know the formulas. SLE is equal to your asset value times your exposure factor, and ALE is equal to your single loss expectancy times your arrow. And then we're going to show the results. We're going to plot it, and we're going to show the 95th percentile VAR and the expected shortfall. Now, we're going to use the randomized formula in Excel. And then if you press rand several times, each press of F9, I'm sorry, not run, but F9, will recalculate your random numbers. Okay, so what's a key point here? Monte Carlo converts a single estimate of risk into a distribution of possible outcomes. And it is hoped that it will help management understand expected losses. Okay, so with this in mind, we're going now to run our Monte Carlo simulation and interpret the results carefully, recognizing both the strengths and limitations of the model. Okay. So let me go to the, okay. Okay, wait. Yeah, okay. I'll provide you a PDF file, this one. I'll provide you with this material. It summarizes the steps that you need to take. Okay, so don't just mind the 10-minute, no? It's just a walkthrough. But the process itself, I just wanted to time myself. Okay, so this will be a live demo, demonstration of doing Monte Carlo simulation. So we'll have certain assumptions about our asset value, okay, our EF, and then our arrow. We'll use triangular sampling. Okay, how does that go? It will be you get the maximum value, subtract the minimum, and then you add the minimum. Of course, you multiply it by a certain factor. So we'll have triangular sampling, and then we'll be able to compute now the mean of your distribution of our losses, then compute for the VAR and also for the CVAR. And then we're going to press F9 so that it will keep on recalculating. Okay, so these are assumptions. Our exposure factor minimum will be 0.2. Our asset value is 1 million. Let's assume that our mode for the exposure factor is 0.4, and then the max is 0.6. Our annualized rate of occurrence minimum is 0.05. Our maximum is 0.25, and the mode is 0.15. Simulations, number of trials, maybe we will increase this to 10,000 or maybe 100,000. Okay, so this is our triangular sampling. Okay, the formula is this one. Okay, we are actually computing for the we'll follow a different formula. Okay, a more simplified formula rather than this one. Okay, so this is the table of our exposure factor, factor, our arrow, our SLE and ALE. Okay, we'll just use one formula for your arrow, EF and arrow. And then we'll compute for the SLE and the ALE. Okay, and then we're going to compute for the mean. Okay, mean of the ALE. Then we can compute for the 90th percentile, the 95th percentile, and the expected shortfall. All right. Okay, so that's the walkthrough. Okay, I'll now open Excel, sorry. Okay, here are the instructions. We're going to input the asset value, okay, the EF and the ARO range. Then we're going to run the simulation, and we're going to take a look at the results sheet. And then we're going to compute for the mean annualized loss expectancy. And then we're going to compute VAR. We can compute for the 90th percentile and the 95th percentile, and also the 99th, because different companies make use of different VAR metrics. Okay, and then what will be the expected shortfall? Okay, and then just a question for us to look into. Would management accept this level of risk? Okay, so let's now go here. So I'm sure you're following along with your Excel sheet. Okay. Okay, this is our asset, the value of the asset that's exposed to risk. Let's peg it at 10 million. Okay. And then our exposure factor. Okay, minimum, mode, and maximum. Okay, so these are assumptions that we make. Okay, so as I said, the assumptions can of course change by changing environment. For example, if a certain law is passed or a certain event is passed, just like now the war in Middle East. If you're in the oil industry, I'm sure your risk profile is now different from what it was 1 year ago. Okay, so pati ano natin, annual rate of occurrence, no? Pati annual rate of occurrence natin. And then let's use 1,000 simulations. Okay, so let's go here, our simulation. All right, before anything else, let's go here to our inputs. Now, because we're going to use these names several times, let's first create named range for easier access. Okay, so you can, later, we're going to access this. Okay, you can, if you're here, for example, or if you're here, you can type is equal to, and then go to the inputs, is equal to this amount, or is equal to this amount, which is the EF mean. Now, one way to simplify your processes in Excel is to create named ranges. So how do you do that? You can see that I'm at F1. And notice here, this is the name box. It will tell you this is F1. So each of the cells have a name. They are special names. So for example, K9. So you can't use K9 in any other cell anymore because that's a special name. So what we can do is we're going to, for example, use asset value as a name for this one. And it's conveniently placed beside the number. So if I, for example, go to this, okay, and type, I'll give it a name, asset value, asset. Now you can't use two words, no? So you have to put an underscore into it, asset value there. Control, enter. So what do you now see? You have now a cell that has a name asset value. If I click this, then it points to this one. Let me go outside here first. Go here. If I click this, notice that it points to this one. Okay, So you don't have to name each of these individually. What we can do is just highlight this, okay, and then F3, okay, right, sorry, Control Shift F3, there you go, Control Shift F3, I'm not sure with the Mac, I think it's Command Shift and then F3. Now Excel correctly guesses that the names are on the left column. So if it's correct, then we can click OK. Excel guessed that the names of these values are the ones on the left. Okay, so let's click OK. There you go. So let's now check the name box. Okay, you take a look. There are now names here. And notice that the names have underscore because you can't use two words. So if I click arrow mode, then this is it. This is arrow mode. So Excel automatically changed the name into one with an underscore. Okay, so the advantage of that is if we go to other cells, for example, so it's equal to, if I press arrow, okay, you'll notice that there are now here, you'll be able to access it without going to that specific cell. For example, arrow mode, tab. So it's 0.15. Okay, so we were able to access that using the name arrow mode. Okay, so if I go here, what's arrow mode? 0.15. Okay, so now that we have these names, okay, then we can now proceed with our simulation. Okay, now let's simulate. Sorry. What do you want? Let's say 100,000 observations. Pwede rin, no? So gawin na natin 50,000 observations. All right, 50,000 observations. Okay, so I'm going to list here 1 up to 50,000. So creating a series, okay, 1, 2, 3, and then going down here, okay, going down here is not a good idea kasi matagal yun kung 50,000. So what we can do is, I'm sure you know this, we can go here to editing and then here series, and then series in columns because we want it going down. If you forget and make it in rows, then it will go to the right. So from 1 up to, we want 50,000. And you'll notice that it automatically created a series from, okay, may plot pala ako dito na naiwan. Okay, Control, Shift down arrow. So there you go, it's up to 50,000. Control. Okay. All right, so we now have 50,000 observations. We're now going to generate, okay, 50,000 annualized loss. Okay, so how do you do that? First, we generate EFs. We're going to generate 50,000 exposure factors. How do you do that? We're going to use a triangular distribution. So take a look at this formula. Okay, so notice first, function F2, that it's multiplying a certain random number multiplied by the maximum of your exposure factor minus minimum of your exposure factor, the difference multiplied by a random number, okay, and then plus the EF minimum. All right? So that way, yung EF natin, diba? Yung EF natin, minimum, hindi bababa ng minimum. Okay, kasi we're adding this, we're getting the maximum and the minimum, subtract, and then multiply it by a random number. So this will be a number, it can be very small or can be relatively bigger than the other. Okay, so let's do that. Let me erase that. Okay, so it's equal to rand. The rand function will generate numbers from between 0 and 1. Okay? Type ko lang rand. Okay. Type ko lang yan ha. Enter, control enter. There you go. So 0.28339, di ba? So it's a number, random number between 0 and 1. If I press F9, okay, sa akin may function pa kasi. So in your case, tingnan nyo kung i-press yung F9 or function F9, what do you notice? It changes, no? Kasi randomized yan eh. Okay, you notice that it changes, may very small, may 0.75. So the value that you'll be generating for EF will be varied, no? Okay. Yung rand na yan, i-multiply natin, triangular distribution kasi, no? Times, we're going to use the exposure factor. Notice that when I type EF, lalabas yan, no? Very convenient. Even small letter, no? EF. And then we need the maximum, tab. I don't have to type tab. And then minus EF, then minimum. So we're getting the difference between the maximum and the minimum. Okay? And then we're going to multiply it with a random number. So it will be different for each observation. Magkakaiba yan, itong value na to. Which then we will be adding to, again, EF minimum. There you go. So if you take a look at this formula, you notice that we're getting the difference between EF max and EF min. And then we're multiplying it by a random number. And then we're adding it EF min. This will ensure that the minimum value is EF minimum. Kasi ayaw natin na mag-exceed siya sa mag-below EF minimum siya. So control enter. All right. Again, if I press F9, function F9, you notice that the value changes. Okay, ano ba value ng EF class? EF minimum 0.2. You notice now, yung mga value ng EF natin dito, F9. Walang bumababa ng 0.2 dyan. So it goes as high as may mga 0.9, okay, 0.4, walang 0.9 class. Kasi, ang maximum niya class is 0.6. So, there will be no value greater than 0.6 here and no value lower than 0.2. Okay, if I check, yan yun, no? Walang tumataas ang 0.6, di ba? Walang bumababa ng 0.2. So we are within the range of for EFs that we specified. Now, next for the arrow. For the annual rate of occurrence, it ranges from 25% to 5%. Okay, again, plus these are assumptions, and assumptions need to be tested in the event of when there are new events that happen in a certain industry in your specific environment, then the risk team or the IT team should be evaluating this. Kung okay pa tong assumptions ng annual rate of occurrence 25% to 25%. All right. So how do we now compute for this? Same thing. No? Take a look at this. And ganun din. No? You get the difference between the annualized yung arrow na maximum minus arrow na minimum plus the minimum. Yung difference na to, multiply it by the rand function. Okay? And the rand function, as you know, is between 0 and 1. Okay? So in this distribution, you will never have a value that's more than the arrow max, lower than the arrow min. It will be always between those two values. Okay? Sige, gawin natin on our own. So this is equal to rand. Rand, then multiply natin ng arrow max minus arrow. Okay? Notice when I type arrow, lumalabas agad yung mga names, no? Arrow min. Okay? So that amount will be added to arrow min. Yan. Okay? So notice this is the multiplier random number. It will generate different numbers and it will be multiplied to the difference between the max and the minimum, okay, which will be added to the minimum. So it will not be lower than the minimum. This one will make sure that it will not be higher than the maximum. Control Enter. Okay, if I press F9 again, F9. Okay, so notice it's not lower than 0.05, but it cannot be higher than 0.25. May 0.23 kanina doon, may 0.24, but it's not higher than 0.25. And you can't see any value lower than 0.02, no? 0.05, sorry. Okay, so now we're now ready to compute for this. This is very easy. The single loss expectancy is just the product of your specific EF multiplied by our asset value. So our asset value, okay, let's do this. We can now, since we gave it a name, AS, okay, if it doesn't appear with the first letter, then you type the second letter. Here, asset value. Okay, and then we multiply it by exposure factor. So the single loss expectancy for this particular occurrence is, okay, may typo error ba ako? Yeah, sorry, may typo error ako. Ano parang parenthesis. Okay. So let's natin all right, that's 2 million, no? And your asset, what's your asset class? Asset value is 10 million. So this is one of the potential losses, no? So if I once again press F9, you notice that your single loss expectancy changes. It changes. Okay. And then lastly, our annualized loss expectancy. So this is very easy, class. It will just be your single loss multiplied by your ARO. Okay, so we do that. Single loss multiplied by our ARO. So these are annualized loss. Now we can generate now 50,000 observations of this. Okay, so let me highlight this and then double click this. Okay, notice it's running. There you go. So we have, sometimes you're not able to immediately scroll down kasi nagko-compute pa siya. Isa na lang. There, hanggang 50,000, no? Okay. All right. Now, what we can do is, we're now going to go to the results, no? Magko-compute na tayo ng ano natin, ng average, tapos ng C-VAR, okay? At saka ng ano, ng VAR. Okay. If you want, we can, you can actually make this as a table, no? Pwede natin gawin ng table to para madali ma-access si ALE. But for now, let's just do this. Hindi, wag na lang, sige. We'll just do it the regular way. So let's go to the results here. So we now have 50,000 observations ng ano, di ba? Ng annualized loss expectancy natin. So we can get the average of that. And to get the average of that, just use is equal to, I wrote the formula there for your reference. Just get the average of, punta tayo sa simulation natin, and then kunin natin to, no? Lahat. Control Shift down arrow. Okay, Control backspace. Okay, Control Shift and then Control backspace. Ayaw bumalik. Okay, so ito na yan, no? Average nun. Control Enter. There you go. Okay, so we were able to create to generate an average loss of 601,555. So ang asset value natin is how much? 10 million. Okay? So based on our data, okay, the average loss using this Monte Carlo simulation is around 601. Of course, since the factors can still change, I can press F9. Okay, you notice it's changing, di ba? It's changing. But since we have 50,000 observations, then the change is not really that far, no? Nagre-range lang siya from 598 to 600 plus, di ba? 1,000. Oh, ayan, no? And what causes that? Because of the many observations that we have. If we generated only 10 observations for this Monte Carlo, then the values will be really very, very different. Very far off, no? All right. Then how do we now compute for the VAR 95%? That's very easy. We can make use of the percentile function. So percentile, okay. Percentile, okay, and we will do. What's our array? Our array is our ALE class. Control Shift down arrow, Control backspace. So this is our percentile. And then, what is our K? VAR 95%, right? 0.95 or 95%. If you were using VAR 90, let's do that in a while. Control Enter. Okay, there you go. Okay, so the VAR 95%, okay, we're 95% confident that our loss will not exceed 1.173. Just for comparison and let's do this because sometimes others compute for the others compute for the 95% and also the 99%. Okay, so we have figures for VAR. 90% class will mean that we are 90% confident that this will be the biggest loss, no? So we'll put here 95 here. So that means this will be a smaller amount. There. So 90% we're 90% confident that the loss will not be greater than 1,037,000. And here we have 99%. .99. Okay, of course it will be bigger. So we have here 90% VAR, 95% VAR, and 99% VAR. Okay, so when we now get the expected shortfall, we're just getting the average of your ALE, which is greater than or equal to whatever your VAR is. Okay, so let's do that. Is equal to average. Okay, and then our data is, okay, let's just copy because I won't. This is the advantage of having a name to your range of cells. Okay, I'll just copy this. This one. And the function used is average if. Control Enter. All right. We are using expected shortfall for VAR 95. So this is B4. If you were using expected shortfall based on 90% VAR, then you use this value. Okay. So take a look at this there. So the VAR 95 is 1.17 million. The expected shortfall is 1,275. Okay, you can see that, no? All right, if we go here, let's go to the simulation. Of course, if I press F9, this will vary. Function F9. There, it's changing. It's changing. Why is that changing? Because of this rand here. Of our rand functions here. The rand changes. All right. And we can easily plot a histogram for this one. Maybe let's highlight this. Control Shift down arrow. And then insert. Let's use a recommended chart. Let's use a histogram. Okay, maybe with the cumulative distribution function. Okay, but the histogram will do. Okay. And usually this plot is also reported to the board for their information. Okay. You can, of course, plot here the average. Okay, I leave that to you as an exercise. You can plot the average here. The average ALE, annualized loss expectancy, is so 598 now, but if function F9, it will virtually change. Overall, around 600,000. That's the average. The VAR 95 is 1.17 million, and the expected shortfall is 1.28 million. So you can include that here in the chart. Okay, I leave that to you as an exercise. Okay, it's good to put here the average and then the 95% VAR and then the expected shortfall. Okay, for the last question here, there's a question here. And the question here is, discuss, would management accept this level of risk? This is now where control, governance comes into play. Okay, I just place here some notes, class. Okay, as we know, Monte Carlo simulation produces a distribution of possible losses. From this distribution, we were able to compute for the average loss, the value at risk, and the expected shortfall. Okay. Now, of course, this is not taken in isolation. We then compare it with the organization's, with the company's risk appetite and risk tolerance. And then based on this comparison, dapat mag-decide yung management whether to access that risk, to accept that risk, or to mitigate it through controls, or transfer that risk through mechanisms such as insurance. So ganun naman yung mga possible na possible na interventions. Control X. Diba? That's what insurance is all about, for example, the transference of risk. So management can either accept that risk, tolerable yan. So risk appetite versus risk tolerance, no? Kung yan lang yung risk, 95% VAR, kakayanin natin yan. Okay? So, or to mitigate through controls, pwedeng gumawa ng interventions in order to ward off the effects of that risk. Or through whatever mechanism, transfer it. Ganun yung insurance, di ba? May insurance ng property, no? Etc. So the risk is being transferred to the insurer. Okay, so I hope you got the computation for VAR, for the Monte Carlo simulation, for VAR and the expected shortfall. Okay, so let me end in this. Okay, so let's just recapitulate our risk identification process up to board decision. Okay, so you don't just compute for the risk just for the sake of computing it. It has to be used for decision making. Okay, so a while ago we looked at risk identification, and there are several ways to do this. Can be qualitative also. We take a look at the assets, the threats it's exposed to, its vulnerabilities, and then we quantify the risk. Can be a single measure, okay, single loss expectancy or annualized loss expectancy. Then it can be simulated. You can come up with a distribution of several losses, which is very good compared to just the one value. Okay, and then we have from there, from the Monte Carlo simulation, we now have several risk metrics. You can compute the average. You can compute 95% VAR or 90% VAR, 99% VAR. It depends on the on the risk appetite of the company. And then you have the expected shortfall, the average value in excess of the VAR. Okay. And then, of course, we have control optimization. Okay. If we're going to come up with certain projects that will mitigate the risk, you have to compute for the net benefit. Okay. If you have 5 potential projects, then we identify the risk benefits, the risk savings versus the project cost. And then we say that the net benefit should be positive. And projects can be independent or it can be mutually exclusive. Independent means you can choose to implement not just one, but 2 or 3, etc. So after this control optimization, then finally the board decision. This is now the governance, the reporting, and the key performance indicators. So that in a nutshell is what enterprise risk management is all about. Okay? So from risk identification to board decision, yun yung pinakadulong-dulo, no? So identify risk, quantify it. You can have scenario and simulation analysis, compute for the value at risk, ba? Etc. Management. So throughout these 2 sessions, session 1 and session 2, okay, we move from just identifying the risk to supporting strategic decisions. So we started with risk identification. We identified yung mga assets that are exposed to threats and vulnerabilities. And then we performed risk quantification. Yung sa session 1, what we did was yung single loss expectancy and the annualized loss expectancy. Okay, we quantified risk into into financial terms. And then today we deepened our analysis through Monte Carlo simulation. So we are allowed now to understand uncertainty. Okay, from this simulations, what next? I-derive natin, di ba, yung mga risk metrics natin. Yung value at risk, expected shortfall. Okay, these metrics support management decisions. Okay, such as ano ba yung mga management decisions? I-reduce yung yung risk na yan, or ita-transfer, or just to accept or avoid, no? Risk avoidance, how do you do that? Okay, and then finally, after your optimization, we have to do the governance and monitoring reporting to the board. Okay, supported of course by KPIs and constant monitoring. Yung constant monitoring kasi baka pwedeng magbago yung mga assumptions, then you'll have different sets of values. No? So this is how risk management moves from theory to governance and strategic decision making. Okay, so with that, we end our discussion for today. I hope you learned something. I'll be sending the PowerPoint slides and also the Excel file, okay, for your perusal. I'll I'll maybe I'll give you the one with the answer and the one with no answer for your practice. Okay. So with that, thank you so much, everyone. And this ends our discussion of session 2. I hope you learned something. Okay. And thank you.